Thank you and welcome to the Franklin High School Poetry Slam. Woo! My name is Sandra Childs, and I have the pleasure of working with an incredible group of people and some incredible students who are going to perform for you tonight. Before we get going, I do want to thank the PTA that helped raise the funds to sponsor this event, and the parents that went to the auction and that have contributed so that we could be here tonight. So can you give them a hand? I'd also like to go over the Poetry Slam rules very briefly, and if you look at our pillar, they're posted there for you, or they may be at your seats. First of all, each poet gets 3 minutes plus a 10-second grace period to read one poem or to recite one poem. The poem may not use props, costumes, or musical instruments, and it must be their original work. Once it's scored, we drop the high and low score, and the judges, the rest of the remaining scores, will be added together. If the student ends up going over the 3-minute, 10-second grace period, then they will be penalized 0.5 seconds for every 0.5 points for every 10 seconds. That means that they will lose points if they go over the 3:10 limit. They will be notified very gently when they hit the 3-minute mark by our wonderful musicians. And sadly, all I know is that it's Tristan Trotter and her husband. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our MCs, Ryan Lee and Emma Childs. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the second annual Franklin High School Poetry Slam. Just as an overcap, tonight is a primary round to the citywide Verslandia competition. The top 3 poets from tonight will be selected to go on to compete against winners from other Portland high schools at Verslandia on April 30th, as well as 2 alternates. Wish everyone the best of luck.
Now, before we begin, we would like to thank you all for coming out tonight to show your support to Franklin's wonderfully talented poets. If students want extra credit, make sure to sign in so your teachers know you came.
We would also like to thank the Slam Committee, Jan Donald, Dana Vinger, Sandra Childs, Pam Garrett, Amber McGill, Irene Montano, Tristan Trotter, and Jesse Gardner.
Finally, we would like to introduce our judges for this evening's entertainment. First off, we have Marty Perez. Second, Renee Michelle. Next, Brian Chu. And next, Laura Moulton. And finally, Annabelle Rivera.
We would also like to remind you there's water bottles over there for sale. If you want to buy one, they're really nice.
Thanks for Sarah Dahl, our model. All right, so we're gonna now start the show.
So our first poet, or should I say sacrificial poet, is kind of like a practice round to show everyone how it works, and I'm gonna pick his name now. Jesse Gardner. Give it up for Jesse.
What's up, everybody? Set this down.
Is that good for you?
Yeah, let's see.
Do you want higher?
No, it's perfect.
All right.
Yeah. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, better yet, human beings. Of all shapes, sizes, cultures, skin tones, and creeds, take a deep breath with me. Nice. That breath is a ritual to prepare us for the second annual Franklin Poetry Slam. The breath was to prepare us for the unfathomable riches that will be blessing your beings tonight. You see, each of these poets is gonna pack peculiar power. Each poet will have a galaxy inside of their ribs. And if you'll indulge my metaphor, you can aboard their spaceships and float gravity-less in their substance of sentences, incantations, questions, lamentations, pains, joys, and yes, celebrations. And if you dare to pry open your mind and contemplate these spoken beauties, you could open cosmic drapes to drink in poems of illuminated landscapes while sliding down the sound of sun rays for goodness sakes. See, engraved in each of these poets' tongues are the words creators creating. Each of these poets is an artist painting mental murals on our minds for images to seep and wind down to our hearts. If we dare to give them entrance, we will see each of these poets is an original DJ who lets the music of their soul play. So what does the music of their soul say with syntaxical fashion so fearless, no shame, paragraphs dancing to the beat of their blood. There's nothing to hide. And the styles are gonna be so sick. I've already scheduled all of you doctor visits. No, I'm serious. These poems are gonna have flesh and bones and muscles and sinews and skin. So let them walk with you, let them talk with you, let them laugh and cry with you. And most of all, you have to let them challenge you. Because this slam is a modern expression of an ancient ceremony of storytelling, and these poets have been destined to bless your beings for the sake of strengthening community. So one more deep breath with me. Yes, you are all now ready.
Awesome job, Jesse. Thank you.
So now we're just gonna wait for the judges' scores. And first off, we have Brian Shu with a 8.5.
And then we have Renee Mitchell with a 8.4.
Mr. Perez with an 8.5 as well.
Laura Moulton with an 8.7, and Anibal Rivera with an 8.0.
So as we wait for our math guys to total it up,
Music.
Oh, Mr. Burnhoff!
Oh, we have a total score of 25.5. Get up for Jesse.
So I guess it's my turn to pick out of the bowl.
This is our first, actual poet tonight.
And first off, I'd like to welcome Alejandro Flores up to the stage.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm a slam poet, and I knew Ryan was going to pick me out of the bowl. All right. This poem's entitled Short, Simple, Sweet. What is this social paranoia that has become the prisons of our schools and has instituted its own malicious rules? Rule number 1, no fun, no games, no play. Look to live and strive to the next day. Ignore everyone until you stray, until this world breaks and you pray. Rule number 2, just get them through school. No questions, no help, no premise, no moral, and all the while it grows like coral. The problem, short, simple, sweet. Short, simple, sweet is the plan. Go to school and back home. One demand. Rule number 3, who are you to me? Do you know Halo? Do you know Picasso? Do you know J-Lo? Do you know so-and-so? What's to know and where's to learn when kids struggle and yearn, toss and turn and practically burn? Why concern? Because it's short, simple, sweet. What would I learn from not being born and from being trapped in this world torn, hurting like a thorn, stuck to the holy book, sworn? Social constraints are my complaints, for we cannot live freely. We are under control from those who know everything that already needs to be known. But I want my say, my slice of pie. Do not deny me my way. Like Nike, run the world whole is my goal. Who am I to remain unseen? For I have a dream, and it remains clean, free from the mean and vicious fiends of reality and lucky devil teens that plague the scenes of my inner conscience. Short. Simple, sweet, I repeat, no better notion. Yet the commotion of the daily motion of our minds places us in a bind that we cannot escape. Short, simple, sweet is the grace period of kindergarten. First, second, third grade, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, seventh, eighth, ninth grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, where we are made as mind and body, but as a soul, where are we made? Short, simple, sweet. We all go through the same thing, yet we do not understand each other or the master plan. My brother, mother, sister, father, pastor, post worker, firefighter, attendant at the gas station, guy with misguided implications, convict, hero, idol, zero, farmer, teacher, preacher, woman, man, baby, child, amputee. Do we see? No. Stories untold. Do we hear? No. People unseen. Short, simple, sweet. Life's cards, the hand played, the hand delayed, who'd handled our grave. Short, simple, sweet. When will we grow into a proper threshold of understanding, acceptance, tolerance, love, patience, perception, free of deception? Short, simple, sweet. Give me the map to such a place, nay, map it out on my heart so that it may never part, for I know what I want, and that is short, simple, sweet.
Great job, Alex. Do you want to? So Emma's gonna pick this time. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Our scores. All right, we have a 8.6, 8.0, a 7.8, a 9.5, and a 9.3.
For a total of
25.9.
25.9.
Give it up for Alex. Next up, we have Ariana Jacobs.
Come on up.
My name is Ariana, and I'll be performing Awakening. Wrapped up in a web-spun sleep, so fragile that it breaks when touched. Everything calm, cool, collected till the interweavings of your mind begin to unravel, then bam. It impales you like an open, pulsing wound, biting into your face, a scream that makes your head implode, heart beating, rapid pace, wild skipping thumpy beats ring in your ears. An eruption of color shapes of sounds, a collage of confusion, distortion, spinning at a constant rate. Lightning strikes you down, making convulsive spasm with your own pulsing blood. Then fear. It eats you up, devours you, till you're nothing but that crying little girl, asking for everything to stop. But you're trapped, caught in the cracks of what defines the fine lines between known and unknown, then music. I hear music. The ice cream man. Ice cream. Ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. And around and round and round it goes. Breathe. My mind is enclosed with 1,000 shining stars. My torment is receding. My mind is releasing. Darkness has departed. I am alive. And so I count 1, 2, 3, and so I count 1, 2, 3, and so I count 1, 2, 3. This was no dream, but my awakening, my reality, my curse, my seizure.
9.0. 9.1, 9.4, 8.6, and 8.3.
For a total of 26.7. Give it up for Ariana.
And next up, we have Mariana Bustamante.
My name is Marina Bustamante, and I'm a sophomore. This is called The Big Questions. In big neon letters, it would be called the picture gallery of my life, with my years in height and my height by yards. I'd want you to know I've lived. I've lived through tears and fears. I've lived through joys and false innocence. My sister had to learn how to die before she could even see the light. I just want you to know I love you. Even though if you had lived, I probably wouldn't have existed. I'm not saying it because it's an obligation. I'm not saying because it's an expectation. If you had wanted to know why the hell I was chasing a spider in one picture, I tell you, I ate it. I ate it as fast as I could, and I chewed it until I felt its guts swarming in my mouth and down my throat. Just to let you know, it's off the menu. Got a bit too juicy for my taste. There would be a portrait of you on my front doorstep. Long Shirley Temple locks and waves of brown, cream-colored skin over your usual latte. Deep brown eyes that shine with overwhelming wisdom. But I must admit, I drew you shorter to boost my ego a bit. The same with your boobs. I'm kidding, of course. But most importantly, I would share my all-time favorite picture of me. You know, kidding, right? My all-time favorite picture was during the night when I listened to you and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, ringing and chiming melodies and echoing notes in my ears, sweetly singing to the song that I've loved so much, and I cried during my sleep. It would be Gut Nacht, lad. It means my good night song. But it could not compare to the one spring sun when the sun glowed up high and the grass swayed back and forth. When we were at the Portland Rose Park, near the black rose bushes is your sister, hiding under the cold embrace from the willow's tree. Under the naked sun is my sister playing with some kid's puppy. Her smile was so beautiful, it shone more brighter than the sun from above. It was filled with warmth and happiness in which I didn't have in my middle school years. But if I had to ask one question, 1 second before your death, I would ask if you were my twin sister or brother, would you love me?
We have a 7.9, another 7.9, a 7.0, a 6.9, and a 7.6. For a total of 22.5. Brooke Thompson.
Hi, I'm Brooke Thompson, and my poem's called Scars. There's more that lies beneath the friendly face. Somehow the scars don't leave a trace, as long as there's makeup to put over them on your face. Make believe they did not happen, that it was never really there, until we wash it off at night, are reminded by our fear that we may again fall for the bait. Debating what is wrong and what is right, somewhere the line gets smudged, where day and night only become dawn and twilight. Blinding us from our goals, this haze of foundation and crap, this is no longer makeup, but so heavily put on, it's now a mask. Heavy is the weight on your back, not allowing you to yield, or not allowing you to heal, because we have not had the medical training to make it yield. And these pills we take for antidepressant by the doctor who is really just a quack, not knowing how to deal with what's on his own back. Dealing the cards of life, do we fold, put all in? Somehow we fool ourselves into thinking we'll win. When the race, the pace is picking up, seeing those who shoot in front of you and then realizing you're not good enough. Missing the scene and the trees and the bees and your needs. Needing to be loved, needing to be hugged, just simply needing a shoulder to cry on. But it's not always there, just cold stares and sacrifice of living everyday life. Staring to the past, wishing it wouldn't last, but it's too late, it's there. Will you let it distract you from what is here? Wish is but a dream, to have perfect skin, to be fit, skinny, and tall, just to fit in. Fitting into groups we're forced into by race, gender, and class. We stay in them just to get past. Well, look around you. We all have our scars. In that way, we are all alike. How you got them makes you unique. Uniquely you, not having a clue, trying to figure out this impossible thing we call life. Well, eat without guilt and speak out with much pride, because it's only when we're afraid of these scars we truly become broken inside. Thank you.
And the scores: 6.9, 7.3, 7.9, 8.0, and 8.2.
Give it up for Brooke.
For a total of 23.2. Next, we have Mackenzie Payne.
My name's Mackenzie Payne, and my poem's called Bloom's Journey Through Love. So there's this girl. Her name is Bloom. Her journey began when she was diagnosed with depression. In high school, she started to like a guy. He was sweet, caring, and he stole the innocence of Bloom's lips. They had spent many days together, and he had spent many nights at her house as well. Bloom thought that she had found the guy she was going to spend the rest of her life with, but one day, he stopped talking to her. She felt as if her whole world vanished, and her heart was destroyed, like all the air was removed. She faded, like the comings and goings of the seasons. She turned to Rose, her sister. Rose told her everything would be all right, but Bloom knew it wouldn't. One night, as Bloom was listening to her music, trying to heal the wounds on her heart, when a song came on and opened the wounds again. Bloom missed the guy that made her feel special, how his smell enveloped her, how every time he smiled at her, he made her feel like his special girl, how every time he kissed her, she thought she would melt in his arms. Bloom didn't realize that she loved that boy with all her heart, but Rose did. Rose could see how much Bloom was hurt and broken inside, even if Bloom tried masking it. Bloom composed a poem. She stood up, faced everyone, and exposed herself. As she scanned the crowd, she found that one person that could make her smile. They made eye contact, and she realized that he was sorry and that his feelings never left. Afterwards, he found her, and he kissed her deeply. She missed his smell and didn't want the kiss to end, but she realized that she had found another guy who made her happy. She didn't know she wouldn't be choosing the boy she was kissing, but the boy who had already healed the wounds on her heart. This time, though, she was a lot more cautious. Her heart had been pricked with a thorn, like on a rose, and didn't want it to happen again. She wanted to know that he cared for her, that he wanted her for her and didn't want her to be someone she wasn't. She wanted to know that she could trust him.
And the scores, we have an 8.0, another 8.0, a 7.6, a 7.2, and a 6.5. For a total score of 22.8. And our next poet will be Muhammad Muhammad.
You don't have to hate me because I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. I'm just am who I am. The Quran is important to Muslims, and we have to pray 5 times a day. The Quran gives us knowledge. Don't wait until college to learn about this knowledge. You could do it right now. Stop the hating on Muslims. Take time to get to know them. Start with a book. Don't give me a look. I'm just like you. But I read the Quran. If you're not a Muslim, you can still read. You don't have to hate me because I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim, just am who I am. I'm from Kenya. I am from a place that smells good, a place that smells like rice. I am from a place where my dad picked me up. I was strong like a baby. I am from by eating rice. I am from smelling all the good stuff. I am from playing and having fun. I am from a place where we give respect. Don't cry for me, Africa, because I will never let you out of my mind. I hear your voice, people of Africa. I hear you cries, people of Africa. My father was born in Africa, and Africa is his homeland. I never see Africa, but I see Africa in my dreams. I'm just am who I am. I love basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like how the ball dribbles up and down the court. The ball goes bouncing off the toes. My mind is twisted. I don't know what to do because I don't know. I want to be the best. Then I ask my basketball. He tells me something unheard of, so we talk about life. He asks me what's my A, B, and C plan, so I respond as clearly my basketball. When I was younger, I told my mom that I would be the best son to be a basketball player, so I practiced every single day trying to keep my word with the hope of my basketball. I'm just am who I am. I'm a Muslim, I'm an African, I'm a basketball player. That's who I am.
Great job, Muhammad. Yeah. All right, our scores are 7.9, 7.6, 7.8, 6.7, and 6.0. For a total of 22.1. Next up, we have Janet Webster. Come on up, Janet.
Hi, I'm Janet. I'm going to be performing a poem entitled Society in Abstract. She has triangular palms and circular fingers. One arm is thin and yellow as a tooth. The other is that box that you pounded down for the garbage man, splattered with red and black and blue and trampled by the rain. Her spine is twisted so bad, almost as much as a politician's. And her heart is twisted just as badly, almost as if she were a politician. She has no neck and skin that fits her worse than her daddy's coat. When she was little, she drapes over herself in too many colors. She's burning on the inside out. She shrivels like a carcass if you look close enough, but no one ever does. She seems to be sculpted with melting wax, a failed attempt to be heard when you have nothing to say. But then you see her face. It's the perfect kind of round with skin so broken that it's healed and become marble soft as the lining on a winter jacket, warm as fire, warm like blood. But her blood is cold because her veins are ice, and nice isn't one of those words that describe her a fighter. Right, but for all the wrong reasons, and she is on the brink of a new revelation that could be devastating or beautiful, depending on the eye of the beholder. She's clever, using a plastic face to sink 1,000 ships, bringing them down with letter chains and bowling balls, willing to sacrifice the world in order to entertain herself. There's something between her brain and her mouth that likes to make pretzels out of the truth and send them out salted and baked to perfection for everyone to hear. Her voice is like a violin's that hypnotizes ears in every corner of the world. But what she doesn't know is that it's not her voice at all, but the collective chant of the human race in that face that she's so proud of is just paint. And the body that she never seems to see is made not of skin, not of wax, but of mirrors, each speck the whisper of one of us.
We have a 9.6, a 9.4, an 8.6, an 8.5, and a 9.7. For a total score of 27.6. Our next poet will be Ellie Gentry.
Hi, I'm Ellie Gentry, and I'm pretty sure my knees are shaking right now. Okay. What if magic doesn't exist? Because we didn't believe in it enough. Well, what if I told you I have proof that it does? So say I can. Do you proclaim me a freak? Or do you take my hand and trust that even if I'm lying, at least you'll have a story to tell? I refuse to believe in the reality that we've all come to accept. I refuse to believe that there's nothing else out there for us because, honestly, reality sucks. Go to school, melt your brain, smash your dreams as if they had a chance in the first place. Go home, be alone, overthink, then there's blood in the sink. I hope it makes you think about your own monsters. You just can hide under the bed, wearing sick human masks, but mine come out to play, nothing to hide, bloodthirsty and demented. I'm going crazy, but it's cozy. One more moment of bliss and I'm craving death's kiss, another sigh, another wish to die, another stab at living like I would if I could. I'll be the cause of no more pain. I refuse to acknowledge all the lives that I've drained. One more stroke, one last note, this life was not what I'd hoped. Now don't try to tell me everything will be okay because it simply won't. Everyone will always be unhappy in this world. Show me one person who couldn't name 3 horrid things at any given time. Because the truth is that we are all afraid. The truth is that we are all just afraid, and if you're not afraid, then you are a coward. If you're not afraid, then it's time to face the fact that this world is built on fear. Fear of death, fear of life, fear of germs, and war and pain, and magic and wonder and emotion and love. Because that's where the true magic really lies. In the hearts of those who simply can't afford not to believe in it. People like me.
Our scores are 8.8, 9.0, 8.7, 9.1, and 7.9. For a total of 26.5. And next up, we have Alyssa Van Metter.
Hello, I'm Alyssa Van Meter, and this is a poem I wrote called Nothing to Me. I wish it could be different. I wish that I wasn't so blind to my own stupidity. I realize now it was all for the best, for my eyes have been opened. I can see that you, sir, are a real player. For a long while, I did not see the monster in front of me. I wish I had no idea at the time of what hurt you were able to cause. I wish I had taken that single, valuable moment, taken in a shaky breath, and paused. Just paused. I want no one to find me. I don't want anyone to care. Some days I spend my time wishing that I wasn't here. At first, I was already broken when you came along. At first, you made my soul jump for joy and burst into song. But near the end, I took a step back and realized everything was so very wrong. Lies. Lies so easy to shield behind a carefully constructed facade was easy to capture one so naive and loving as I. I wish to tell you a story of a girl who hides. In my little black hole, I know I am safe, for this is the place where I can escape. Some days I have no heart. Some days I have too much. In my past I have given it away easily. Some have viewed me as a fool. My tears are not for you.
but for what could have been. But seeing you now as the person I know you to be, I know you are nothing, nothing, nothing to me.
And we have an 8.0, an 8.1, a 7.6, a 6.9, and a 7.9. For a total score of 23.5. And next up we have Luna Koenig.
Hi. I knew I was going to be next somehow. I just knew. Okay. I'm Luna, and this is my poem, and it's called It's Hard. We all like to categorize. We criticize, sort by shape, sort by size, portraying love as the golden prize. We'll never know how hard it is. How hard is it to avoid pain, your daily dose of acid rain, unexpected sources causing you blindness? What you see as treachery came from what you thought was kindness. How hard is it to open up, let passing strangers flip your pages, to let it out, black ink running, dripping down your fingers? How hard is it to be compatible? Find somebody reliable whose character profile is drawn out in the same kind of style. You've got the wrong fit and you're backing away in slow motion because you know our minds are wired to create the perfect potion, the perfect combination of chemicals to create a sort of chemical reaction. Each mind is made of magnets, and that's why it's called attraction. How hard is it to fall in love without a falling out? Because storybook romances are what life is all about. And who draws the line between a lover and a friend? Because the rules and the exceptions never seem to end. The guidelines are pretend. And how hard is it to finally do it? To not just sit and ponder it, but actually go through it? How hard is it to release the tension that's binding you backwards to the twisted form of another, breaking, earthquaking, conjoined sister to brother, to end the burn that comes from struggling and the everlasting recovering? How hard is it?
Great job, Luna. And we have an 8.2, an 8.6, 7.9, 8.7, and a 7.9. For a total of 24.7. Next up, we have Milo Bennett.
My name is Milo Bennett, and this poem is called Changing Mankind. I have a dream. I have a dream that Martin Luther King never got shot, and the people on his block never signed to the Glocks, never slinging the rocks, never hassling the cops, never trying to stop. So fly away from that flock before you get caught buzzing your own alarm clock. All you need is a knock. Wake up. You cannot change the past, it's reality. No way you can stop hate and brutality. Actually, you can't even change your moralities. And me, I can't even change my mentality. So wait. If I can't change Christianity, then those Christian supremacists can't change sexuality. This is not duality. This is one single life form, a hurricane brainstorm expressing all of his opinions on a user-free web forum. So let me take a breath. And I'm going to guess that I'm affecting you less than the middle-class white American telling you he's oppressed. And I will not stop till my opinion has been addressed, and I will not stop till I've gotten cause and effect, and I'm sorry if I am being too direct. But me, I'm just a kid. My voice would never ring louder than Gandhi or Malcolm's did. But here right now, if I could change most of your minds, then maybe someday I could change all of mankind.
We have an 8.0, an 8.2, an 8.4, a 9.6, and a 9.4.
And we have a total of 26 for Milo Bennett.
This is our last poet before we have intermission. And Felix Graham.
Hi, my name is Felix, and I'm kind of freaking out right now. This poem is called Did You Know? No, it's called Do You Know? See, I'm already forgetting. Do you know? Do you know that feeling, that one we can all relate to? When you relate to everything in your own world and everything is always finding ways to revolve around and relate to you. Because after all, when a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, it only makes a noise if it exists in your head. When you become that one person you were good friends with once, but all that's left of them is the mean things to say and the bad memories. When you wonder what it would mean to do nothing, you realize that would mean to do less than not even exist. You have to not think about it. You have to not even have ever thought it. And you try, and you try, and you can't for the longest time until eventually you succeed and you push away everything that you love, and you become nothing again. When you collect little sayings, scribblings that sound good in your head, and on the scraps of paper you keep them on until they fill up all that is you and your whole life fits into the chocolate box that you keep them in. When you become someone else's you, only it's their handwriting, so the O looks strange. Do you know that perfect sunny moment? When the sun is shining bright and the perfect song is playing and you're with the ones you love and the grass is greener than you've noticed. And you feel that infinite feeling of being happy, if not for that one perfect moment. Do you know? No. Of course not. How could you?
All right, we have an 8.6, 8.3, 7.9, 8.2, and 9.0.
Welcome back. But before we return to these phenomenal poems, we forgot to say Felix Graham's score, and he got a 25.1. Let's give him a hand. Now let's get started. First off, we have Sam Burnett.
My name is Sam Burnett, and my piece is entitled Rambles. Anyone with a mouth can string together rhymes, but what those rhymes are about is what truly defines us. Ignorance is a must in a world so divided, but in God we trust. At least that's what it says on my quarters. Let them roll into the vending machine, disappearing as quickly as my childhood dreams. Well, wait, I guess that's not even true, because I never even had a dream to cling on to. Sure, I had ideas of success in my mind, but those thoughts have been planted there. They aren't really mine. It feels like I'm standing on a field of mines, and good influences today speak as loudly as mimes. Get it? They don't speak to me at all, and if they do, I just ain't sure if I should heed the call. Stealing kicks at the mall, sipping liquor in the hall. If that's what life is about, I am most certainly appalled. And that's why progress is stalled, a generation full of potential, docile, withering, enthralled by an earth hedonistically, consistently, so explicitly unjust, a world where ignorance and violence are a must. Hold up a sign, welcome to dystopia land. You're as likely to breathe as meet the back of one's hand. No! It is here I make my stand, for I refuse to be used, ground up, and canned. 100 million people, all uniform, the same, and leaders pointing fingers like who is to blame, and elders shaking heads like it's such a shame. We are the children of the future. Life is more than a game. Yeah, it's more than a game. We can't afford to squander brightness, so I do proclaim, armed with a common aim, us Z's will light up the globe like a glorious flame. An enlightening entity, stupidity's enemy. Get on board with me or get stung like a sea anemone. I dream peace, no entropy, but all we taken is shit like the human centipede. But it's all you, the voices that rise up and clamor for change that just may have the power to one day rearrange the wicked system of values Western culture has uplifted. Yes, each and every one of you is unique and gifted. Keep your voice unwavering until morals are shifted, and make kindness the only drug to which we are addicted. Ask for something more than riches for Christmas. Ask for something more from CEOs of big business. Ask for something more, and the whole uproar of a generation will eclipse any planned encore that the puppet masters had. Sorry, foiled your plan. I've made my choice. I will remain an independent, free man.
We have an 8.2, an 8.7, an 8.8, and 9.1, and a 9.5. For a total score of 26.6. And next up, we have Mari Dika.
Hi, I'm Mari. This poem is titled A Secret. A secret, placed upon a weak blue line, no card for the world to see. While others joke about the methamphetamine they supposedly shot, along with the other explicit things that are wrong. One engraves words that make her weak, yet make her strong. Do you want to know her secret? An act of sheer cowardness, unable to face reality, unwilling to fight the battle. These thoughts and these memories fill her head. Simply fragile. Of what others envision, she is strange. She is weak. Only to assume, but never to seek. Though why question? Why seek? Sure, she seems fine most of the time, but still, only what they think, what they perceive. They don't know what she desires and what she believes. They don't know her past and those fiends. They don't know that she is a Sendentessian, one who fakes a smile almost every day. Sure, it may be a flourishing feature, but still, it just stands in the way of the truth that hides underneath ashamed and insulted eyes, the stories that, within that shall never face the bitter outside, stories of hope and loss, stories of an event that she has already faced twice, now turned to a possible thrice, and this time, it could turn out right. But do you know how this all came to be? It's seen every day on your television screen, different shapes, different forms, different ways of suffering. No, I'm not bluffing because I've been there. The statistic of the 13 million not willing to share the truth that left them in that despair. I've read the words of paging deaths and numerous threats. I've heard voices of degrading self-esteem. I have felt that smack of reality, something that didn't reach her age, yet she seemed to grow up at age 12, which is strange, because she faced fears not only by her peers, but by her blood creator, making her believe she had no savior, making her feel she was alone, having her go through attempts that left her in the no. The tumble of the shelf that weekend, and the consumption of pain and depression that still left her awake in the fatal obsession. But this one could be the charm, feeling as if there would be no harm. But before she takes the leap, she ponders, she breathes, thinks of the good souls and the people who deceived her, her truths, her lies, her moments of satire, and the moments she wishes to see the world from the sky or from a warm embrace, whatever decision he makes. She falls. Now she weeps. No longer going through, she flees, looks up a bit, but then back down. Those wide-eyed weeping waterfalls just drown her out. Now black streaks like pavement are formed, an object of debility on the floor, words of forgiveness torn to pieces. Her heart can't take no more. She now crawls shaken on the floor, back barricading the door, looking up with shaded eyes, she whispers, "Save me," and mourn. A year since then, those thoughts and those memories still fill her head, but she engraves her pain for the world to see, not for the attention or that she's insane, but for others who are not alone in the world. and feel the same.
So Mari got an 8.0, 8.2, 8.3, 8.8, and an 8.5. For a total of 25.2. Next up, we have Colin Rechtenwald.
All right, this poem, well, I'm Cullen, and this poem is dedicated to anyone who wants to make a change, not now, not today, but for the 7th generation from now, and more importantly, Earth. Deep frying larger servings while hearts turning cold as ices, connivers know gestures of pleasure, entices. Our grip on money turns tighter and tighter as if they were vices, so independent yet dependent on the industry that easily put our planet into crisis. Go green! But all teens seem to worry about is getting their license. For Pete's sake, that's just our cake's icing. Cutting till nature extinct, I think, means Earth is dying, just because selfishly we've imperialistically mass-consumed the resources via buying. Perfect as our imagination's figment, pff, so surprising. Happiness is being ignorant, stop prying if I'm lying. Taking deep breaths of luxury's pollution when I'm sighing. Skinned alive and trapped inside of silent torture as we're thriving. Just so our coastlining can be fur. Sell them cheap for profit today, but what's the real price worth? I'll feel humans are Earth's curse, and as well cancer, and for bands or alter ego as being a dancer. That's no real answer. With Earth's life cycle's intricate gears we tampered just so we can live pampered. How Mother Nature's treated severely needs a new standard. Humans, nations, and overpopulation have too close of a correlation of deforestation. Killed by its own creation, the planet is every animal's as much as it is ours. I guess we're the prime example of misused power.
We have an 8.0, a 7.6, a 7.9, an 8.4, and a 7.8. We have a total score of 23.7. Next up, we have Alex Harris.
Hi, I'm Alex, in case you didn't know that. I'm feeling very paranoid today. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the consumption of caffeine. Probably. My piece is going to be called Let's Go to the Show, and it's about going to a show or something like that. Okay. Do physical features make someone less of a brute? It certainly makes no difference to me or you. So, turn the tables, shed your aura, and take a lark down to my level. Alex Harris, come on down! You're the next contestant on the roadkill on the right side of the freeway. No reason, no reasoning. Take a walk in my second hands. Where is there to go? Nowhere. You are on an island surrounded by a sea of fast metal machines hungry for impact. There are souls within them, but they have business to attend to. No time for your petty battles of the everyday. Go back inside. What is there to do? Repetition, virtually and physically. We build off the characters that we created, but it does not evolve. We simply explain it more. For we know more about ourselves than we used to, don't we? So many specifics. And when we blend them together, it should have created something new. Right? Wrong. For the solution simply creates another problem. So many things we can do together, but we've done them all before. It gives no meaning to it all. Hear a song 1,000 times and you never want to hear it again. Do something long enough and you start to not see the point. But wouldn't you want to anyway? No. You never even mentioned it. We never existed. We do not. We will not. You never even tried. You might be like the rain, never-ending dark cold, pounding in my ears and mind, keeping me here, my body acting as a prison, slowly driving me mad. But that's simply my grandiose imagination at work. I really don't know the half of it. And those bastards sitting on clouds watching my every move, at least they know I tried. You didn't. They say I have a social problem. I left that behind a long time ago. It's everyone else with their social problems. restricting themselves only to people they've known since the beginning of the education. The mass mutiny of mankind, stabbing itself in the back without even realizing it. And you accept it without a care in the world. Or any other frame of mind, for that fact. It frightens me to know that you still think there's hope. But what will you do? Go to the show. There's a club if you like to go, but wouldn't you anyway? No. But I'm too afraid to pick up the phone. I would like to go. I want the phone to ring before I pick it up. I want you to call me, ask me how I'm doing, tell me about the show. Maybe we could go. But no, no one does. Does everyone have business to attend to? No time for my petty battles of the everyday. Yep, no time at all. What you don't seem to realize is that the light at the end of the tunnel is a lure, a candle held by a slick used car salesman. It isn't really the end of the tunnel. The tunnel is the only thing that's real. Sure, there may be a few twists and turns and ups and downs, but the ceiling lights still flash before my eyes. No sidewalk, no speed limit, just that sea of cars. The sea of apathy. You didn't hear a word I was saying, did you? This was meant to reach your ears, but it has fallen on ears that it wasn't intended for. Once you have seen what I have seen, then maybe we can go to the show together.
The scores, they are 7.8, 7.1, 8.0, 7.9, and 8.3. For a total of 23.2. Next up, we have Shaylee Rickard.
I'm Shaylee, and this is my poem called Self-Cure. Throat chokes as tears try to escape. Death's at my door as my heart lays dying on the cold concrete floor. This all lays within a fantasy that couldn't face reality. But it seems to me that this track on Karma's mixtape is skipping while my blood is metaphorically dripping while they're sipping from my sorrow, trying to do more than just borrow the little bit of happiness that I have left. I'm a victim of theft, left with denial, but I need justice. Someone needs to stand trial. Bile in my throat, it's sickening how I allow myself to keep reliving this moment, hoarding it like I'm the only one allowed to own it. This isn't something I've scripted, it's been depicted, but I'm tired of being transfixed with it all, so I try and listen to their pleas, saying, please, come back to the way you used to be. But it's been so long that I don't even know which road to take to get back to the me that I used to be. Since I was me, I fell, I grew, and somehow I made it through. I was broken and felt like I could never be woken from the nightmare of just not knowing. I felt like nobody. I never really understood the fact that everybody is somebody, even little old me with my crazy fairy tale dreams. But you see, a long time ago when the hate and pain didn't show, the pages to a book were set aflame, but from ashes it rose. It was broken and burned, and the pages were charred and the words a blur. No one understood what was being said. All that was seen was a dream, thought long ago to be dead. But against all odds, ink glowed black and paper white. Back to life, back to nothing old and to everything new. Ready to take every single opportunity that you thought the world would never give you. I fell, I grew, and yes, I even made it through. Through trial and error and enduring their hateful stares. I smiled back and went about my day, acting as if nothing had happened to me. I acted as if my pages weren't burned and my words weren't a blur. But that's why this is my self-cure.
We have a 9.2, 8.2, an 8.5, a 9.6, and an 8.0. For a total score of 25.9. And our next poet is Izzy Starr.
My name's Isadora. Oh, hey, microphone. Oh, yeah. All right, and through my masterful procrastination, this poem does not have a title. Okay. Whoa, 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 wait. What are you doing? Where are your shoes? Why? Why would you do that? That's disgusting. You're revolting. You're gonna die. I hear that all the time. And honestly, I have to say, it's the highlight of my day. Your disturbed, unreasonable reaction, it's half my motivation. It makes me smile, laugh, to cause such a commotion on your repetitive pattern you hold so tightly with such redundant devotion. Yes, I'm the person in the unpractical dress and with my hair all a mess, but that's just the way my mind chooses to express. So you can understand my confusion when faced with yours. Why is all anyone wants to know. Poor people, all so perplexed, they haven't got a guess. Why do you wear what you wear? Why do you do what you do? Where the fuck are your shoes? Well, what is the exact situation that brought you to this particular unfortunate situation? Why? I don't want to answer that question. When I was little, I looked in the mirror and thought, man, what the hell? Where's my tail? Where's my mutation? My feathers? Something to set me apart from the rest, because being the freak was simply the best. And as you can see, that moral's still very much a part of me. Okay. So, I get up in the morning and then on the floor. As you can see, that moral's still very much a part of me. And though wings would be rockin', they're no longer something I feel I need. I get up in the morning, and there on the floor, spewing from my closet door, is my mutation, my individuality, some deformity. Why? So I must ask you now. When you get up in the morning, do you not paint yourself blue? You could, you know, it's up to you, but you don't, and you probably won't. But you could, and you don't see me asking, stopping you along your way to make you explain that every decision you've made. I could look at you and say, with that big, juicy Mickey D's hamburger you're about to consume, and go, whoa, 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 man. Are you above to shove that down your face? That's disgusting. You're revolting. You're gonna die. But I don't. Yeah, and yeah, and you'll give me a look and say that's completely different. But is it really, I think, just as much a risk? Just more known to the populace, comfortable, acceptable, so will disguise you don't even realize. At least I'm aware. Yeah, there are nails, screws, glass, purple caloos, and if and more likely when I step on one, by all means, have your fun. Run around in circles. I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. But the truth is, I already know. I could die, but that's kind of the price you pay for being alive. So I've chosen to feel the cold, the warmth, the grass, the dirt, even the cement. I can't help my feet are curious. They want to know each individual mildly miserable toe. Yes, I know it's for my safety because you care, but let me remind you there are far worse things out there. Yeah, I'm the one in the unrealistic dress, and my hair, I'm sure it's a mess, but all I have to say to you is thanks. Thank you for your concern and letting me disturb you in such a traumatic way, because despite how much you glare and you stare, I really don't care. In fact, you make my day.
So we have an 8.5, an 8.0, 8.2, a 7.3, and a 7.0. For a total of 21. Give Izzy a round of applause, everyone. Come on. Next up, we have Zyphon Abdul.
I'm Zyphon, and his poem is called Romantic Movie. When I watch this typical typical romantic movie for the millionth time, it reminds me of something. Or more like a desire. I want you to know what I'm feeling, but the only problem is that once you hear it, you might want to wait for me. I just want to say, never mind. Let's go and say something. Like in those typical romantic movies, how it always has a happy ending to it. I wish something like that came to be true for me. Only if it only came to be true for me. But it's not the way it seems. I just want to say that only as easy as it looks, because I can't hardly control this feeling anymore. So I watch those typical romantic movies so that I can find the words to say, I love zebras. That's not what I meant. I just want to say those 3 words to you. But why do typical romantic movies make it look so hard when make it look so easy when it's so hard in real life? Or maybe they possess some sort of a secret. But it's not my concern right now. Because now's the time, now's the hour to restore ourselves. Now's the time, now's the hour to say those 3 words to you. Now's the time to break my course way on my own since longer than history itself. Now, I'm in my bedroom trying to mirror the lines I wrote for you. I tell myself, here goes nothing. I open my eyes and I'm near you. I walk up to you. Before I even speak a word, you say, "What is it?" I confess to you. I need to tell that before I even speak no word, you say, "What is it?" Then just silence for a few seconds. In those seconds, I thought about how things came to be, how everything that I fought for came to be in this place where it ends in a park. If I sunset behind us, then I realized that I truly do feel that way. Then also, this is the moment I was waiting for. Then I just say, I love you.
And we have a 7.0, a 7.2, a 7.4, a 7.9, and a 7.5, for a total score of 22.1. And our next poet will be Ladara Britson.
So my name is Ladara. Ooh. This has really good acoustics, like right here for me. I don't know how it is out there for you, but it's really good right here. To be aware. Lost in a sea of painstaking blindness. Captured by the obliviousness of the followers that we push to break free from. But if everyone else around each one of us is sheep, wouldn't that in turn make us just as oblivious too? I am waiting for the day when people are more than just bemused with their own mortality, when they look past these masks and ever-changing costumes and see the mirrored reflection of their scared little child in all of us, trying to figure it all out as we are swallowed whole by the world outside of our skin, by our friends, by the media, by the whirlwind of new technology that is leaving the emotions of our human connections behind. And by the ever-present desire to belong to something so much more than what is imprinted upon us day by day. There is this new lack of harmonic responsibility. The distinction that you alone are the only one to feel your emotion. And that those around you don't matter, and in turn that they don't mind. I am just as lost as you are, and just as left behind. But I've realized something within my time. We need not be so metaphorically blind. That all around us, individuals have figured it out. That each one of us has those bricks we've laid, those layers of concrete so delicately paved. And that those walls weren't made for the outside, to keep the outside from coming in, but rather to notice that your small section of wall, the only one that you've been staring at, fits so whole It fits so absolutely in the whole that if you would just turn around, you could see, and never again would you feel lonely. Living, or like the spring flowers sprouting through the concrete in the Portland rain. We can break down these overused stone barriers and release our imaginary invisible fears, for none of us are alone. But all of us have to go through the steps to figure it out. Let us be aware.
And we have 8.4, 8.3, 8.7, another 8.4, and a 9.0. For a total of 25.5. Next up, we have Jade Eichmiller.
Okay, I'm Jade Eichmiller, and this is my poem, Absolute Threshold. The wing of a fly falling on a cheek, sensations flooding my brain. Or is it perception? All I know is my perception of you is never changing. My mental representation of you filling my brain with awe. A teaspoon of sugar and 2 gallons of water, and yet I can still taste you. Some say I will become sensory adapted around you, but every time you walk by, you still send shivers down my spine. A tick of a clock from 20 feet away, and I can still hear you, your footsteps echoing in my brain. It's like my selective attention is broken, each sense overwhelmed. A candle visible on a clear night from 30 miles away, and you still shine bright. My receptor cells have no idea what to do when you come around, sending action potentials, leaving no refractory period. My emotional intelligence going wonky, causing me to make up words. I drop a perfume in a 3-bedroom apartment, and your scent still fills my nostrils. You are just one among a sea of people. You aren't a neutral stimulus anymore. You've gained the power to cause a response. You're always there, staring after me, and in my preconscious, but more often not occupying my thoughts at all, my brain too jumbled to care. As I turn my back, shutting you out, unsaid whispers on my lips, my feet taking me another path, leaving me to study psychology.
We have an 8.0, an 8.8, another 8.8, 7.9, and an 8.4. For a total score of 25.2. Next up, we have Juan Ordaz.
So I'm Juan, and yeah. This is called When We Were Young. All right. When I was young, I was told you can be anything you want to be. I never understood what they meant. See, my mind bent around the concept of anything. Superhero, acrobat, basketball player. There I sat. See, concepts were consuming my brain. I was going insane just thinking of fame. When in reality, there are things that are out of my reach. See, even after all the talks and teacher speech, I can't begin to teach or speak to anybody on how to make peace. When he was young, he was told, practice makes perfect. He thought he knew what they meant. See, his mind worked logically, so for him, he thought potentially, school grows exponentially, so hard work would equal to greatness. But since perfection is a joke, his dreams had no hope, and he was left never meeting expectations. See, he thought, one more mile, one more lap, I'll be the best, until he blew his knee, he couldn't contest. When she was young, she was told you're ugly and unwanted. She knew what they meant. See, the words haunted her every day, so when she'd walk at her pace, she'd hide her face. She was alone in her own zone. She felt like she was the missing piece to the puzzle that was put into the wrong box. She was locked into her mindset, so her mindset a path of depression. As she swallowed her collection of antidepressants and acted happy as if nothing hurt or haunted her soul, as if she didn't remember what they told her at 3 years old. See, we're not all raised the same, but we've all felt the same pain, the one that makes you go insane, that you just can't explain, that tears you apart from the inside out. See, it doesn't matter if you're tall and skinny or short and stout. We've all fallen short or waited too long to succeed. So, we bleed this red, white, and blue because this nation has raised us onto this procrastination and the hatred and hating ourselves because the world relies on wealth. See, I used to think that love made the world go round. But truth is, love is gone and the world's still spinning.
And we have 9.0, 8.9, 8.4, 8.5, and a... What? I did?
There must have been 2.
And another 8.0. No. Oh. 8.9. Yeah. For a total of 26.3. Next, we have Olivia Wilk.
My name is Olivia Wilk, and my poem is entitled Turning Pages. You told me you were sick of my thoughts, of endless warnings, of repeated caveats, but I have not forgotten who you used to be. You see, I can't help but question your inherent reaction to embrace a life of such corruption and deception, clutching a gun in your hand with such vehement rage. I remember how you used to hold flowers, how you used to turn pages of books. But look, I'm obviously inclined to help you try to find a peace of mind, yet despite my effort, you still dwell in the pressure. So I extend my hand, but you don't get up. It's like your mind's too sore to feel any love just because you break laws, just because you stand tall, just because you use and use to break the fall. Your visualization is getting weak and your humanity is sinking into this abyss of a criminal identity, rummaging through the chaos for just a piece, just a sliver of serenity. Your individuality is being threatened and now your high is getting less. The fluid dystopia flowing through your veins, visceral sensations, a sudden shudder. You'll never know how many people were affected by the change. It's like you shuffled the deck of fate, the signs and omens that you construed. It's your irrational interpretation. That's what's leading me so confused. Let me tell you, this is such severe self-hatred. How could you sell and steal from these young kids? You dove into a world so many tried to escape from. What's the justification? Why? How come these scars line your arms like surreal indentations? A reminder for the future of your lack of motivation. It's persuading you with temptation, this idea of living for the lethal. A man once stood here so strong and powerful, and now he sits here so feeble. And if it's emotion, if that's what you're trying to conceal, well, let me tell you, apathy is a tragedy when it's a wound you can't heal. And listen, I'm not trying to say that no one should ever do this. A lot of talented people fooled around with stimulants, but it is a fact you are not Kerouac. This was no rendezvous with a drug or two, no. This was goodbye to your community. Farewell, friend. Adieu. And in lieu of trying to analyze every way that this scarred me, I tried to think objectively, but the words still flow incessantly. The manifestation of criminal dedication, a bright man lost in the perils of our civilization. This situation was not given, it's the world you created. Thank you.
We have a 9.4, a 9.0, a 8.6, a 9.7, and an 8.9. For a total score of 26.8. Next, we have Oliver Pickens.
All right, so my name's Ted, and my poem doesn't happen to have a name. I'm spiritually loose, mentally trapped in a noose, and surrounded by idiots, all of which think they're the shit, but realistically they are it. Now, I'm not talking about society, I'm talking about what makes up me, but not actually, because I refer to myself separately. But maybe it's what you see, and it just might be a reflection of the lives that surround me. Of course, that's putting it simply. And trust me, this is definitely a moral complexity, for I am, not I, but the absence of which. I'm what's left when the wrapper's gone. I am the Twix, except take away the caramel and the chocolate. Get rid of the wafer too, and you've got me pinned. I am an air, a presence that resides within.
So we have an 8.6, an 8.9, a 9.1, an 8.1, and an 8.3. For a total of 25.8. Next up, we have E. Lee.
Hello, my name is E. First of all, who here likes stories? I know I do. Alright, so let me get right to it. Let me tell you today a story. Let me tell you a story of a girl who prayed every day, who wished during every birthday for a dream come true. She believed in fairy tales for its happy endings, and she loved Disney for its Prince Charming, and in dreams of holding mommy's hands and daddy's hands both at the same time. She counted the dull nights she spent crying herself to sleep, holding a ragged doll as her only solace, her only friend and her only savior, because the two people she trusted the most in the world could not even trust each other. She counted seconds, minutes, hours, day after day, month after month, year after year, until all of her fingers and toes could not count all of them. Because why? They told her this. This is my life. These are my situations, my choices. You have no right to tell me what to do. But this is what she said. Who are you to tell me I cannot change the minds of these people? Because I know that your choices can affect my life too. Forced to watch, linked arms and locked hands, doing nothing but imagine how it would be like to live back 3 years in time. Because those were the only times she could remember of her parents together, holding hands, holding her hands with her brother. These were the only times she could remember those memories. But as the clock continued to tick, tock, tick, tock, until its hands could no longer turn and its noise no longer broke the silence, patience turned into anger and reassurance turned into poison. As that child faded and its innocence vanished, only to return as a stain, as she became I, and her story became mine. And I wished, I prayed, I believed in a paradise that only existed in God's words. If only she were a good girl, maybe this story could have had a happy ending.
We have an 8.4, an 8.9, an 8.2, and an 8.2, and an 8.4. For a total score of 25. And finally, we have Darby Marioff.
I'm Darby Marioff. This is Lost. When I'm told that a God chooses my fate, can tell me whom I direct my hate, gives me rules on who I can date, who'll punish me if his religion I negate, I become lost. When to praise, I must pay a fee. When I'm told who I can and cannot be by a man who preaches the word of someone they may never see, by people who forcefully impose their personal beliefs onto me, I become lost. Am I supposed to believe in something because I want to believe in it? Because a girl I loved for 8 years passed away on December 5th. Because I held her hand crying, looking into her lifeless eyes. Because I want to go back 4 years to say yes to that date. To see her again would leave me a grin, an understatement of extraordinary proportions. But perhaps those readings, or I guess my disbelief is considered a sin, but perhaps those readings were just a distortion. But who knows the truth behind life and death? I don't. You don't. Nobody does. I really am lost. But I tend to believe that I'm a hell of a geek with intelligent speech, whose skills may one day embellish my reach. To each his own, though my words he may preach. To breach my mind, you will need to impeach my brain like a leech to learn how to teach a style like mine that is as sweet as a peach. But that's not enough nowadays. Myself, I get seen as a reject of traditional education. Though my dedication to resonate with publications may demonstrate love perpetuate for written meditation, mental ventilation, it's not enough to satisfy. The minds of the unknowing prepare premediation of disapproval and mere hesitation. I'm no more than a 21, a 1470, or a 2.4 to them. According to society, I am but a number. My GPA is a blunder from a high school career plagued by depressed slumber. They don't know my story. That'd be an excuse anyways, right? Because if I were serious about learning, I'd show perseverance and work through the struggles, right? Because my grades are lacking and my attendance is unstable, I must be smoking weed, partying, and breaking the law, right? This is what employers and colleges see in me. This is what to them I'll always be. Nas, Amos Oz, Octavio Paz, artists I review to pursue a better worldview. Polnick, Mos Def, and Vonnegut too. To the men who speak taboo, to the men whose views I look up to the men whose powerful teachings were long overdue, I thank you. To my wonderful mother who couldn't always be there, to my hardworking father who didn't really care, to my grandparents who would force me to speak their daily prayer, I thank you. To the teachers who pushed me aside, beware, for this here today is when I formally declare that I'll break down the barrier of educational captivity. To me, writing is just a proclivity. To you, today is a festivity of creativity. To me, this is my one and only opportunity to prove that to me, writing is more than a hobbyist activity. To prove that you're confined in a false mindset of objectivity. To prove that I'm a writer, then you'll ask yourself, do we expect this? The kid who looked no more than an eyesore in the classroom, the kid who would sit in the back of the room listening to MF Doom, the kid who you expected to get a job one day pushing a broom. You don't expect this. You won't expect it. You never will expect it. You won't measure my success by a foot or a leader. You'll be able to reassign the hard workers from the cheaters, the original and creative from the repeaters. I'll warm up to you like an electrical heater, though I bear witness now to shades of bereavement. That will be the day I finally feel achievement. I am lost, but I know the resolution. The proof that this educational institution was yet but a devolution. One day, Marriott will be seen with Solinger and Hemingway. There will be no substitution. I am lost, but you'll find me one day. Just wait.
Great job, Darby. And we have a 9.0, 8.5, another 9.0, an 8.0, and an 8.3. So let's give all of the poets a round of applause.
You to enjoy the music while they're adding up the final scores.
It's a 25.8.
24. Oh, and his Darby's was a 24.8. We would like to remind everyone that 3 winners and 2 alternates will go on to compete at the Citywide Verslandia. And we would like to thank Miss Trotter and her husband for being our DJs tonight and all the poets that competed. We have our 2 alternates, Ellie Gentry and Sam Burnett. Let's give them a round of applause. Sam.
Come on up.
Sam.
Thank you.
And we have our 3rd place winner, Ariana Jacobs. Come on up.
Our 2nd place winner, Olivia Wilk.
And finally, drum roll, anyone? Our first place winner, Janet Webster.
Hold up your horse.
Oh, wait, that one's upside down. Hers is upside down.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all for coming out and showing your support. Have a good night.